Alright, so what I can only chalk up to OBS probably having an update or some other little technical hiccup. The recording wasn't picking up my microphone in the last session, so my voice is not there. You can hear everybody else, all of their shenanigans, and all of them taking care of business. But I am entirely absent from the entire session. I have to double check this from now on to make sure it doesn't happen in the future, but I have fixed it currently. However, this does mean that the recording was unsalvageable. I couldn't just go through 2.5 hours of basically redoing my voice in there. So I'm going to give y'all something a little different. I'm going to give y'all the short story of Session 13. If y'all like it, please stick around. Or if you're interested, please stick around. Please enjoy. Baldur's Gate is a city of chaos and opportunity. A place where fortunes are made and lives are lost in the same breath. Where the rich look down from their gilded towers while the desperate carve out existence in the filth below. It is a city of deals struck in candlelit corners, of daggers in the dark, and of whispers that can buy a man's freedom, or seal his fate. But tonight, something darker festers beneath the surface. The usual dangers of the gate, thieves lurking in alleyways, mercenaries settling disputes with steel, corrupt officials pocketing bribes, pale in comparison to the unseen war being waged in the shadows. There is a rot creeping through the city, an infection spreading through its veins, silent and unseen. And at the heart of all of it, a small band of adventurers moves swiftly through the streets, guided by urgency and a single undeniable truth. Time is running out. Blackgate was just the beginning. The first of many pieces of a grim puzzle scattered across the city. Hidden within the grimy outskirts of town, choked with refuse and the stench of decay, discovery was made. One that would set the course of fate into motion. First crate the party found was hidden in the back of the Darrenmore stable, buried beneath sacks of hay and neglected boxes. A small, unassuming crate, but when opened, it revealed something far worse than simple cargo. Inside, concealed in black handkerchiefs no larger than a palm, was a cache of undeath, silent, dormant, but waiting. Each handkerchief was a portal into something dark, an army hidden in plain sight, their twisted forms cloaked in green fire, their souls bound to something ancient and evil. The kind of army that had no need for rest, no need for mercy, only for an unholy command to rise and spill across the city. The flaming fist moved swiftly, taking the crate into custody. But that was just one victory, and it was clear now more than ever that this was no simple fight. This was a war that had just begun, and the city would need more than just brute force to withstand what was coming. With no time to waste, the party turned their sights to Sea Tower, a district whispered to hold both power and peril in equal measure. Their next lead took them to the Hissing Stones bathhouse, a place of steam and secrets, where the thick mist seemed to swallow the noise of the world outside. The air was thick with heat, and the scent of soothing herbal oils lingered in this almost tranquil bathhouse. It was no touch and glow, Saffron's establishment, but the rich and dangerous often came here to speak on private matters, each one slipping beneath the surface, hoping to lose themselves in esteem or find something to keep their deepest desires hidden. But this wasn't just a place of relaxation. It was a place where gold loosened tongues, where the scent of mint and sandalwood mixed with the salt of sweat and deceit. Secrets buried deep within the city's veins seemed to drift in the haze, the whispers passing like fleeting shadows, promising power and wealth for those willing to listen. Patience paid off. A well-placed bribe found its way into the claws of a dragon-born informant, whose scales gleamed dimly in the candlelight. In exchange for a few choice coins, he spoke in low tones, recounting tales of a hidden chamber within the bathhouse. A place where figures cloaked in shadow came and went, their movements precise, almost like clockwork, as if each was part of a larger machine driven by whispered promises. The tension in the air was palpable, and it was clear that whatever happened behind those hidden doors was no mere business transaction. This was something far darker, something that had the power to set the wheels of fate in motion. Glowing, his mind unwillingly touched by forces beyond mortal understanding, reached into the threads of time, feeling his consciousness slip uncomfortably into a space that was never meant for him. His vision blurred as his senses rebelled against the intrusion, the edges of reality warping and bending with unnatural ease. It wasn't the first time this power had taken hold of him, yet it never grew easier. Each time, the same prickling sensation gnawed at the edges of his mind, like a muscle that refused to obey. Through the blurred veil of time, fragments of the past took form and shape, shadows of things long gone, but still alive in the currents of memory. There in the depths of the hidden room, 9 cultists moved as if guided by unseen hands. They slipped through the walls, each step taken with dark intent, gathering in the chambers beyond, their forms flickering, their presence an undeniable sign of what might unfold. As quickly as the vision had come, it snapped away, leaving Glowin with a dizzying sense of unease. His breath came in short gasps, the disorienting feeling of watching the past leave a bitter taste on his tongue. The others saw the shift in his expression, the uneasy tension in his shoulders. But there was no time to waste. There it stood, the doorway almost too obvious once Glowin's vision had cleared, as if it were sitting there in plain sight. They prepared themselves for what they might find on the other side, prepared themselves for a fight against those that would try and kill them, or worse. But without wasting too much time, the party reached for the secret switch that held the door shut, flicking it with no hint of hesitation. And with a heavy groan, the door was open, and all hell broke loose. Viscous and Cinder rushed in the moment their gaze met that of the cultists inside, handling the first group with ease. Then Suyin and Glowin moved in, slinging spells and steel, breaking down the second group rather quickly as Viscous and Cinder joined in to reinforce their friends. And yet, amidst the chaos, one cultist still stood. Did not run, did not beg, did not lift his blade in defiance. Instead, he exhaled a slow, measured breath. He knew. He had known from the moment the hidden door had been breached, there was no escape. No victory for him or his fallen kin. But victory was never meant to be his. The party tensed, weapons at the ready, watching for some last desperate attack. There was no fear in this man's eyes, no panic, only purpose. His lips parted, a whisper, soft, reverent, laced with magic.
The time is now for the Whispered One.
The arcane energy surged, his words escaping beyond the walls, carried through the void to ears unknown, a message not of desperation, but of certainty, a call to action. The spell was cast before anyone could stop him, and by the time their blades struck, cutting him down where he stood, His purpose had already been fulfilled. Somewhere in the city, the cult was moving. The city was running out of time, its very heartbeat quickening with the mounting sense of danger. Whatever the cult had planned, their hand had been forced. The tide of their scheme could no longer be held back by secrecy. There were more caches hidden throughout Boulder's Gate. The cult would be desperate to activate them, and they wouldn't remain dormant for long. Every moment that passed brought the city closer to the edge of a blade, each breath drawing the cult's dark influence ever nearer. The sound of steel and rushing breath still lingered in the room, the stench of death thick in the air. There was no time to linger on the aftermath. The blood was still pooling on the stone. The party wasted no time securing the crate. The black handkerchiefs, still warm with the magic of undeath, were swiftly contained. Another cache of green-flamed undead rested from the cult's grip. Another piece of their dark puzzle had been wrenched free, but the victory felt hollow. There was no peace to be found in their success, only the growing weight of the task that lay ahead. The flaming fist moved with military precision, their faces hard with the knowledge of what they were guarding. The crate was quickly whisked away, an escort of armed men ensuring it was safely delivered to Wyrm's Rock, a stronghold that would shelter it from the cult's reach. But the day was far from over. The air still crackled with the tension of something unfinished, something far more dangerous than any of them had yet to face. Time was running out, and the party could feel the weight of that ticking clock bearing down. The party's next destination, Eastway. The city's twisting streets felt more like a maze with every passing moment, and the urgency in their steps quickened as they reached towards the drop point. The air was thick with tension, the weight of what lay ahead pressing down on them. Every turn seemed to lead them deeper into the heart of Boulder's Gate, ever-present chaos. When they arrived, they found something unexpected. The crate had already been secured. The Flaming Fist had arrived first, taking control of the contraband before the party could ever reach it. It was a small mercy, an unspoken victory in the race against time. No battle, no bloodshed. But even in this moment of minor relief, the party knew the battle wasn't over. The night was still young, and there was little time for celebration. One final location stood before them. Harborside Hospital, nestled in Brampton. A place meant for healing the wounded, the sick, the desperate. Its doors always open to those in need. It seemed innocent enough at first glance. A hospital. But the cult of the Whispered One had infiltrated even the most sacred of places. The crate, another vessel of undeath, lay within its walls, ready to be uncovered, ready to be unleashed. The cult's influence was spreading, like rot beneath a veneer of civility. The party didn't act now. If they failed to secure this final cache, Harborside wouldn't be a house of healing for much longer. It would become a house of slaughter. The sounds of screams would replace the murmur of sick beds, the air thick with the stench of death rather than that of antiseptic. The wounded would not be the only casualties. The party knows this. They know the danger they face. The Whispered One's army is ready, waiting to be unleashed on the city. A tide of death marching at the beck and call of the cult's twisted will. There is no time to waste. There is no room for hesitation. They must move now. If they can secure this last crate, they can stop the cult before it makes its final move. The city might still stand a chance. But if the cult succeeds here, in this seemingly innocent place, Boulder's Gate will be in grave danger.